Alright, we're going to be doing some game overview for my Jeleva deck. I've been playing it quite frequently lately. In preparation for this guide I'm going to be releasing. I probably won't have all the videos uploaded. In fact, I know I won't because my upload speeds are incredibly slow. I've been working pretty hard on it. I think the deck is about as perfect as I can make it, or at least the way I like to play it. I haven't had a lot of changes lately, which gives me some confidence in the build itself. I'm going to show you a couple of 1v1 games I just played. I played one last night and one just now. Deck's actually a lot better in one-on-one than I expected it to be, with a low counterspell density against a lot of control decks. The last game I played was kind of just gold fishing. I'm going to show you this game I played last night. I was looking for a multiplayer game, and I saw my buddy Dr. Zoidberg here. If you are not familiar with this guy, he was one of the people who's been playing ad nauseum for a very long time. Ever since I've known him on MTGO, he plays a Nin deck with lots of artifact mana and lots of counter spells, so I figured it wouldn't be a very good matchup, but I could not pass up the opportunity of a guaranteed good player as my opponent. Always fun to play against this guy. Okay. Step by step. He opens Soul Ring, goes first. It's pretty good for him. I keep a hand that lets me cheat my ad nauseum out with a mana vault. I open hand the ad nauseum. Don't have double black yet, but I have 2 land drops and I have a tutor. Cyclonic Rift isn't especially good against him, or in 1v1 in general, as much as, say a counterspell or something would be, but it's not incredibly horrible. My plan right now is pretty simple. Try to get ad nauseum off at all costs. I figure I'm probably going to have to do it on my turn because he's a fairly good player, and I don't think he's ever going to pass to me, knowing I play combo most of the time without at least one counterspell up. So we're going to match his opening turn powerful mana play with our own, and he is in fact, I think, playing Nin here. Yep. He leads with this new cool looking Polluted Delta. He actually mentions he was just able to pick it up. He's a player that I think if he had a little more money, his deck would be a little bit better. He's slowly been building it up. He's fairly new to MTGO. By fairly new, I think maybe he's been playing for less than a year. But much like me, he's slowly built his collection up over time. So, hoping for a decent match here. Really, I'm hoping to find a black source. That's all I really need. And what do you know? I get a black source that High Tides. Watergrave is literally the perfect top deck in this situation. We get quite a few lucky top decks of this game. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pass, and hopefully if he taps out, get an ad nauseum on his turn, and then take our free win. Fortunately, he is not a noob, and he is not going to just let me take my free win by tapping out to something else. Instead, he's just going to use his Soul Ring to ramp out a Grim Monolith. Because I cannot cast my Intuition, I don't want to use my Mana Vault. I'm simply going to Cyclonic Rift him for tempo because I don't think it has much other use in this matchup, and really I only have a couple turns to try to go off before he just buries me in his counterspell density and things of that nature. We top deck another land here. I'm going to take my red splash. I don't really mind taking the damage. I mean, you could arguably play the island, but if I need my red splash, I need my red splash. For example, if I hit Past in Flames is the big thing, I actually do end up hitting it this game, so it ends up being a solid decision to play this. You could arguably drop the island just to save yourself 2 life and potentially hit a little more with ad nauseum, but that's quite okay. The plan here is pretty simple. We pass, and if he taps out, we ad nauseum. And if he doesn't tap out, we Intuition for a bunch of cheap counterspells. This is one of the few times I wish I had Misdirection in my deck so I could pile all free counterspells. But as you see here, he decides to give me the Pact instead of the Swan Song, which is maybe a slight misplay, but I can see his way of thinking that it's harder for me to use the Pact at this point because I can't pay for it on the next trigger, and it does eventually cost you 5. So he indeed does not tap out again. And we're going to grab our counterspells here. Swan Song, Pact Negation Force, he gives us the Pact. We would have to bet our minds desire if we want to use the Force. So actually Pact is the one I really want the most because I am going to go all in on turn against him because I respect him as a player. I know his deck is very good and has lots of counterspells. I've played against him before. I feel like my best line here is to just go all in with Ad Nauseam. I hit this Past in Flames, and with Past in Flames and Mind's Desire, those are two cards you don't really want to hit in the Ad Nauseam phase, and two cards you really want to have in your hand after Ad Nauseam, so I'm actually looking pretty good here. For instance, drawing something like Tendrils may not seem like the best thing off Ad Nauseam. You'd think you'd want to hit mana, but now you don't have to tutor to grab it, and you can use your tutors to get mana or things that make your chain more efficient, so actually they're actually really good. So we're going to see how Ad Nauseam goes here. He is definitely going to counter. If he has two counter spells, I pretty much lose, but I'm okay going all into this because I've played him lots of times, and I know his density is such that he could have two counter spells, definitely probably has one, and there's a good chance he doesn't have that second one, and even though he's got plenty of blue open to cast two counter spells, I'm going to pack this counter spell and go for the win right here and now. Even if I don't get the win, this is going to put so many cards in my hand that I'm going to have a massive control advantage over him, even though he has a more controlling deck, and we should be able to win. This Ad Nauseam should just seal the deal right here, but as always, we're going to go for the win. He makes a capsize play here on my Steam Vents. This is part of the reason I waited to main phase the Ad Nauseam so I can tap for the mana in response to something like this. I almost, since I could tap this anyway, I almost say he might have wanted to bounce a Black Source here, but it kind of forces my hand a little bit. Either way, it's a good play to do something to make it harder for me to go off. So he goes ahead and bounces the Steam Vents. I hit a Mana Crypt right out the gate, followed by Tendril, so these are both incredibly good hits. We're floating in blue. I'm still looking for some gas here. Seething Song, another incredibly good hit here. As you'll see here, why I really like Seething Song netting 2 instead of something like Pyretic Ritual, which only net 1. It really can't do the same kind of things Seething Song or Dark Ritual can, or Cabal Ritual for that matter. Demonic Tutor is a really good hit. Time Twister is really our first blank hit. Limitless Vault is actually pretty bad too on Ad Nauseam because you're not going to have the life to dig like it's a Vamp Tutor anymore. Pyroblast isn't very exciting. Control cards never really are at this phase. Lab Maniac, not really exciting. Makes Doomsday Piles cheaper if I happen to hit that or choose to grab it with one of these tutors. We hit Turnabout, another incredibly good hit, and we're looking like this is going to be easily something we can go off with. Tormod's Crypt, another good hit just because it's Free Storm. Frantic Search, that's really the nail in his coffin here, because as you'll see here, I hit Notion Thief after, which isn't great. I have to stop. I don't want to die to Tidespout Tyrant at 8, but sometimes I will hit at 8 depending on the situation. At 6 I will almost never hit. I have plenty of 6-drops in this deck that will just outright kill me. Plus some of the things we're going to use could cause us to take damage. Some of the spells I have in this deck depending on what we end up grabbing. So stopping at 6 leaves me in a fairly comfortable position. I don't think he's really running a lot of burn, even though he's in red. So if we do end up having to pass, or doing a little mini Tendrils on him or something of that nature, it's really not that big of a deal. We're going to open with Mana Crypt, our free mana. Another Free Storm there. We're going to put our Command Tower out there, and the reason we're going to do that is because we can leave this blue open, and we can use our Frantic Search simply to split this red mana, which is pretty much colorless in our deck, into different colored mana. So we're going to go ahead and run this out right away. And we get really lucky and we hit a High Tide here, which pretty much seals the game. Just going to bin a couple lands. We're going to go into our High Tide with the Command Tower because we've got plenty of red already floating, and because it's not going to double tap. This also means that our Turnabout now nets us mana, and in addition to that, it's going to color fix us a little bit. Notice I'm tapping for black, even though I'm using the blue, because I want to float a little, because we've still got this Demonic Tutor. We've got to finish with the Tendrils. Notion Thief into Twister is just a winning line, even as a backup, just to put us at 14 and Mind Twist them. Really put us in a position where we can't lose, but really want to win. I take a second here, if you look at the chat, to find my line. Yeah, I think I say Piff just gets there. As you can see with High Tide Online, we have Turnabout and Frantic Search and Seething Song, lots of ritual type stuff in our yard. Our storm is really high. Honestly, I could literally just go Tendrils to a Grape Shot and he would just lose. I think I choose to just remand and double Tendrils. Probably because my mindset from playing multiplayer just has me looking for lines that pretty much start close to infinite or can kill an entire table. At this point, it's just going through the motions. But I've been fairly surprised with, when you get good hands in this deck, you are able to take down decks that are dedicated to playing 1 versus 1. So I'm just going to go for remand here and just double Tendrils him, I think. And that's game. So a good player. I've had a lot of good matches against this guy. I really enjoy playing against him. I used to play against him with my 1-versus-1 decks like Edric and stuff quite often. I have a fairly good win percentage against him, but I think that's mostly due to me using slightly more degenerate decks and getting a little bit more than he has in our previous matches. So that is that game. I'm going to go through this game that I just played. As I finally found where you can actually look at replays on this new client, I really hadn't been too worried about it. This guy's playing a new commander, is Narset. Our hand is incredibly good. We have 2 tutors and a free counterspell and lots of lands. And despite having a really low land count in this deck, which is really good for the back end, hands with lots of lands are really, really good. So being able to play a low land count and then still get pretty much all islands and get get double fetch land here with double tutor is pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it's a very good hand. This deck really doesn't have that many bad hands, but this is definitely on the good side. Yet again, my opponent gets the lead. I think he suspends a Ancestral Vision. Yes. He's never going to get it off because our deck is very fast. I think he's 1 turn away when we go off. My play here is pretty simple. Mana Acceleration ad nauseum. That's not always the line you take in this deck depending on your hands, but when you just have 2 tutors, it is the most efficient path to victory. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab a Soul Ring. His Visions goes up. Drops an Ancient Tomb. Ghostly Prison really isn't scarce at all. It's pretty much a blank card against us. He might not know that. He sees Jeleva. Possibly think that's a strong play against this kind of general since he has to attack to do anything, but we really don't even use it. So there's our Soul Ring. We knew exactly what we're going to draw. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shock myself for my second black source because I'm going to need it eventually anyway. So unless I'm topping a black source, I'm going to need to go get a black source anyway, and we're going to want to untap no matter where we grab it to go off on time. So there's our ad nauseum. He's going to take his 3rd turn. He uses a Scry land, which makes me think his build is a little more controlling in nature. Maybe control Voltron, and there in fact is a Sword of Fire and Ice. Not scary at all. Really hasn't had a lot to interact with us. Tormod's Crypt, the reason we don't play it here is because we're going to get an extra storm from it on a kill turn, so we're going to sandbag it, and we're going to pass, and if he taps out, he's pretty much just going to lose here. Even if he doesn't, I can always ad nauseum and pact, and then just pay for my pact and just draw enough to pretty much bury him, and if I have to pass back and win the next turn, it's really not that big of a deal. But he has no blue mana open, so the odds of him stopping me here are fairly low. There are some things you can interact with just a single red or white, but those are very, very, very unlikely. We hit a Gush here, which isn't a horrible draw. I actually don't like Gush very much in this build, almost purely because it hits 5 off ad nauseum. It's similar to the reason I don't even run this direction. As you saw the last game, I wanted to pull it instead of the Swan Song, but you don't really want to play too many things that hit high on ad nauseum like that. It's the main disadvantage of playing misdirection in this deck. That and it just doesn't hit enough important things to make it a staple like Force of Will is. Notion Thief, not the best hit. Now our blank wheels are actually good though, so we can finish the game easily. It's 1-on-1. If it was against more players, we could use the Thief into wheel line to draw 28 and just simply run a spot. Helm is incredibly good hit. I can't believe I didn't have this card in my build earlier. I tested it a couple times, like very, very early in my quest to make this deck very good, and I got a very, I want to say, not a very good view of it because I was playing against too many other Storm decks, and my ability to cast it early was hindered, and I pretty much had to save it as a late ritual, but even then it really isn't that bad. It's strictly better, in my opinion, than the Ethereum Sculptor I was using before. Much better than Cloud Key. Just a really, really strong card in this build. Just a giant mana ritual, really. You can almost look at it like hitting a ritual right there, so very good. Everflowing Chalice, just a free storm, so that's good. Seething Song, ritual, always good. 2 for 1, it costs us 1 life, gets us access to whatever we want, also very good. Mox Opal, great hit. Force of Will, not so great. Mind's Desire, and there's our gas. Voltaic Key. I hit one more time, even though I could have died to Hyper Count. I'm not exactly sure why I did that. That doesn't really matter either way. I don't think I need this Voltaic Key, but I guess it was a good hit since I didn't die. You probably when I had this guy so massively overkilled, that was actually just a slight misplay there, chancing that I lose. So don't do that. Even if I'd hit a 6-drop there, it would have been really bad. So that was a slight misplay. I didn't actually end up paying for it here. We're going to go with the island, even though we have this seeding song, and that's because we can just use our opal to split to our red here. It's going to net us 3 because of the helm, so we're going to be at 5, which I'll pretty much see as colorless. I probably also shouldn't have immediately untapped this soul ring, considering that colored mana is probably more premium than colorless at this point, but it really doesn't matter. I pretty much won. My line here is pretty simple. I'm going to get Frantic Search here to split out some of this red mana like I did in the other game to get more colored mana that I actually need. Dimir Signet here taps for even because of the Helm of Awakening and splits to double colored, so it's an incredibly good hit. So we're going to use that and turn a red mana into a black and a blue. I'm going to use my Merchant Scroll to hit my remand to guarantee this Mind Desire does not whiff. And despite my incredibly low land count, okay game, I'm taking too long to decide the multi-kicker. Why? Maybe if I hit play, it'll just go. Sometimes when you use Mind Desire, I feel like this game bugs out a little bit on the replays, which is kind of sad. Though it seems like it's the ever-flowing chalice the game's having some sort of issue with now. Either that or I disconnected or something, but I don't think I did. My internet connection seems to be going steady. Long story short, I'm not going to make you walk through the whole thing. The Mind Desire ends up like hitting like 6 lands or something ridiculous like that. But despite that, I'm able to remand it back to my hand. And the other cards I hit are Cabal Ritual and something that lets me get more blue. And then I'm just able to cast the Mind Desire again for like 20 and then just crush him. For whatever reason, this game bugged out though. As you can see, it's a win. I don't have any idea what this game is, but sometimes the multiplayer games just don't let you watch the replay, which is really, really annoying. Darkness Pants. I don't know if this is Jeleva or not. Let's hope it is. This guy is actually someone I played with for a long time. He used to play Mormorvig a lot. He's playing Brago here. I actually don't remember this game, so this will be interesting for us to watch together here. Man, that's a fairly risky keep by me. In fact, that's a really risky keep by me. I think I should have mulled this hand. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I'll get a good top deck. Dark Ritual. Huh, wonderful. I'm probably going to feed this Dark Ritual right into the Grim Tutor. Yep. And go out to a Soul Ring so that I can get either my... I'm still short of Future Sight and Tezzeret. This is such a horrible keep. And that was a questionable tutor, too. I must have been really sleepy when I played this game or something. Oh, he just quits. Probably had the win, too. That was a pretty horrible game. Let's see what this is. Of course, can't watch it because it's a free-for-all. This is incredibly annoying. What's this? Mono. I don't remember this game at all. But I've been playing pretty much just a level lately, so I'm assuming that is what we're going to see here. Okay. Indeed it is, and he's playing a zombie. Zombie's actually a fairly good 1v1 commander here. Ooh, he mulls to 3. Wow. Well, this probably won't be much of a game either. We've got a tutor, we've got our helm. If he's only at 4 cards, I'm probably going to shamelessly drop this Helm of Awakening, especially since it's 1v1. Ooh, he strips us out, but we're on a land-heavy hand. Really bad luck for this guy. So we re-pull our black-blue source. And we top to Volk. Let's see what his follow-up is here. Snow-covered island. That makes me think he's probably playing extra planar lands. I've actually considered playing like 1 or maybe even 2 snow-covered islands just for this. If you played 1 snow-covered island in your deck, it's actually fairly good just because of something like this. I see extra planar lands in blue decks quite a bit. I'm really not a huge fan of the card because it kind of stone range you, and it's a very juicy target to kill, and that's a mana doubler. Artifact removal is among the highest played in the format, so it's really a high risk, high reward type card. I don't drop the Helm of Awakening. Maybe I'm afraid that maybe I think that he's mana screwed or doesn't have a lot of cards and I just don't want to help him in any way. That and I can just curve into my Grim Tutor next turn either way. Oh, we top deck ad nauseam, which is probably what I was thinking about tutoring. So I'm going to assume this goes and gets mana acceleration with the Grim Tutor. Or a free counter. Yep, it's 1 versus 1. Free counter stronger. We can just pitch the Gush to it. That's probably the best play. So I guess I was less dumb that time. Ooh, Mana Crypt. And right into his army. I'm going to assume I'm just going to Helm of Awakening, thinking that he would have to have the perfect combo card to get there, and he's not in black, so he can't really get it. So I'm going to assume I just go straight into Helm of Awakening here and go for the Ad Nauseam next turn, especially since I don't have the land drop to get to Ad Nauseam. And that's in fact exactly what I'm going to do here. Considering he taps out to the Amnesia, that Force of Will was in fact the perfect play, because that would have absolutely destroyed me. It would have just literally mind twisted my whole hand and I would have lost, so yay for me picking Force of Will. He goes and drops a Sky Diamond, so he's really bounced back from mulliganing down to a few cards. With that zombie online, I want to say I'm going to go for an on-turn Ad Nauseam here. In fact, I do. We have a land drop. Mox Diamond, there's our second mana. Tidespout Tyrant, not the best hit in the situation. Soul Ring's a perfect hit, though we do now have Mind Over Matter. More mana. And now we don't have Tidespout in the deck, so when you hit again, I will probably stop at 6. In fact, I do. You can play Soul Ring for free. I can net mana off a Grim Monolith, only playing 1. Talisman taps for even, so now we're getting our card sources. Island here. I'm going to assume this is just going to be Mind Over Matter for the win. No. What did I do? Oh, I had a Gush up. That's right. I could Gush, oh yeah, I'm ramping Storm with my Chain of Vapor. I think I made some kind of misplay there. And what I'm going to do here is replay all the mana rocks, obviously, for more mana, and then turn about into my artifacts. I think that was the plan. Yeah, that's what it was. Sack all the lands and use the turnabout on the artifacts because I had to Gush the lands back. Now we've got an obscene amount of colorless mana, but we're still kind of choked on our blue here. Now I remember, I messed up my line and I pondered, and I got really lucky with this ponder hit here to get this Cabal Ritual. Because now I can just remand Tendrils, Tendrils, remand Tendrils. Yeah, I remember this game now. It was a pretty good game, actually. I think I'm going to cut it short here. I don't want to make my videos too long because then they take forever to upload.